I don't ask for much, so firstly he has to be single.
He has to be a man who is actively pursuing Jesus.
Of course, believes in something that's higher than him. Like
God-fearing.
Loyalty.
If he's not walking in purpose yet, at least taking steps to do that.
Be ambitious.
Such as say lovingness, caringness.
I have like an insane work ethic, so like I can't have a lazy man
who can communicate with me.
In a man, I want somebody who is kind, respectful, and somebody who seriously wants to build a future. This is besides the physical attributes that I might be attracted to. But just somebody that we could connect. We have similar hobbies, similar interests that we could kind of, build a friendship on, similar values in terms of family structure, how we want to live our lives, making sure he has a career or some kind of serious wave he's going on. That's more my speed of what I would want in a man.
What's a career?
A career for me is some sort of trajectory in terms of what you want to do to make money. So it's kind of based on the track you're on, or what you decide you want to do, or if you're on that path, or what are you working on exactly to ensure that you could afford to live and buy certain things and just, upkeep a lifestyle.
But I was under the impression that you were a feminist.
Sorry?
I said I was laboring under the belief, under the impression that you were practicing feminist.
So what does that have to do with a man with a career? Sorry?
Why must the burden remain on a man to be the provider?
Did I say that I didn't have a career, or did you just assume that?
Well, it seems very important to me, but that's usually, and I'm contrasting the responses that a woman would usually give to that question and the responses that a man would give. And I don't think you hear about men talking about careers as often. So it is always striking to me that despite all the efforts that are being put in changing the dynamics between males and females in relationships, you would always see the whole career and trajectory and plan and so on. And to me personally,
I'm a practical person like that.
I feel like that's unrealistic.
Okay, well, fair enough to you, but I, again, would want somebody who has a career path and is serious about that and is working on their thing, because I am the same thing. So shared values again.
Like people have these expectations, like I could say, I want to date Rihanna, but Rihanna is not for me,
So I'm trying to figure out how you akin dating Rihanna to wanting somebody with a career and serious about a job. I think you're just being difficult, to be honest.
No, because to be honest, Ghyanne, how many people have careers? Like how many?
What? What are you talking about?
I want to.
Most of my friends have careers.
I want to interject and say something.
Go ahead.
So Ghyanne, I think I agree with you in terms of actually hearing you articulated that was a shocker to me. I don't know, it's just weird. I don't know. It's something I had to work on. I just think you're anti-man. But I'll admit, on what you did today is Monday, whatever, the 27th. Yeah, I take it back. So it was actually very refreshing to hear you say, certain things, especially the kindness part, because kindness is a big attribute to me. I don't like people who are not kind at all. If you're not kind, you can be how nice. In terms of the career thing, no, I just share a personal experience with that, right? You're not a man, so you won't understand certain things that men go through, just and vice versa, right? There is a gray cloud, an invisible gray cloud, of course, on the head of men, or a certain piece of weight on the shoulders of men to provide. No matter how advanced we move as a people, no matter how much advancements we make and stuff like that, it is just man's duty It's a natural inclination. Anybody, even if a man, now it's a real waste man, will be like, nah, my girl don't mind me. But I could say for my circle, like nobody in my circle feels comfortable not doing anything. Now, how that transcribes the relationship is that I may meet Ghyanne and I may have certain qualities, but I may not have the career as well. And the reason why I'm saying that, my best friend came back from England in 2015 with a master's in international human resource management. And the other day, and up to now, he is unemployed still, just a set of contracts. He's from 2015 to 2021. The other day, he applied for a job. He didn't even get it. I thought, what? This is one of the most brilliant minds I know. And so I understand where we're talking about that career thing. But the truth is, in reality, it doesn't really, the cards don't really play like that for everyone. So now the question is, do you vitiate every other attribute that a man has in being a good man because of a certain period where, because my best friend, like what he does now, he pick up a skill, he's learn woodworking.
Right.
He come in and he states to do some woodworking, just a little bit and make some money and come back home. He basically hustling with a master's, but he had to do what he had to do. And that's because, and the same thing has happened with me as well too. Like, if I am unable to work, I feel very queasy. And I mean, I'm not in a relationship, but anytime I think about getting into a relationship, that is one of the things that be on my mind. Like, okay, if I'm in a relationship, I'll want it to be serious, long term. How do I still be Omavi, the person who is really good at a lot of things, a good catch, but and prove that I am going to be financially stable one day, or that kind of thing,
Right.
So that's my only critique with your listing in terms of that. I don't think for me it's not a feminist thing. I didn't look at it like that. For me, it's more of a reality check. Because the truth is, men, I don't use this word loosely, but men, they date down. Men often date down. Like, you don't really hear men talking about careers and stuff like that. Really, and now men, we like ambitious women. We like women who doing something for that kind of thing. But you don't hear, it's not to say like me and Gershwin Lyman, and I tell Gershwin, I say, dog, it have a girl working KSC, right? She has nice, I like she, but then it have a lawyer who, which one to pick, boy? We don't do like that. That is not how our reality is. Our reality is like,
show me a picture, Omavi.
But the thing is that for me, I understand exactly what you're saying. And when I say career, that's why when he explained it, I tried to say trajectory, because it could be the same thing. Like, your friend has an MBA, I have an MBA as well. No, I am not working in an agency doing my straight degree. I have a small business that I am on that people could say, well, I'm trying to organize right now. So it's not necessarily that you need to be an accountant or you need to be an engineer, but you need to have some sort of vision as to how you're going to financially support yourself and by extension support a family that we will be creating. And career is very important to me because it's something that I value a lot. I value work. I think work is, I don't want to say it's close to God, but I feel like work is valuable to me. And I always like people to have some sort of work that they're doing to impact society or to impact something, make some sort of change. Yeah. So that's how I feel about work generally. So I wouldn't work well with an unemployed man. Because even if you're home, you need to be doing something. That's how I feel.
Yeah. I understand. And by all means, you are entitled to that. I just didn't view it as I said, for me, it was not a feminist thing. I was shocked when you said, because I was like, what? You are, man?
You what?
The first thing is that I feel as though with y'all think it's just like hard and fast, but
no. Actually, this has nothing to do with this conversation.
I mean generally, like that's what I think. Y'all think generally like hard and fast, like Ghyanne hates men.
I don't know Ghyanne like boys, your assumption is usually heteronormativity, but I don't know. Anyway,
I just assume that you had a lot of like a list. Sometimes you come across, at least to me, the few patients as a list person. A person needs to check this, and I'm telling you, based on reality.
That's an assumption.
And that was it's an assumption. It was. That was said.
But
I assume that
realistically,
you are a less person.
we operate on assumptions.
Yeah, but it doesn't mean the assumptions are true. That's why you ask questions and you
They,
hear people out, and then
they
you could
seldom are.
form opinions based on it.
They seldom are. They seldom are. Assumptions seldom are true. But we always look at people when we deal with people. We're dealing with the person wants you to see first of all.
Correct. But the thing is that assumptions is really just all your experiences
And
and things that you
expectations,
put on somebody else that you don't even know.
True.
And you could kind of assume certain things about me, but it doesn't have to be true. And the same thing for you. But yeah.
So Omavi mentioned something very important about men who want to be on a career path and want to have a trajectory and had a plan, because I'm sure you don't go and do a master's degree to end up unemployed. That's not the goal. The goal of doing the master's degree is you have this passion for this, because tell you what, I'm not doing a master's degree. If you hear that I'm doing a master's degree, I have been indoctrinated in some cult and I need help. Call for me. I'm not doing that. Bachelor's degree is enough. I'm happy and content going to work and suffering at work and making the amount of money I make for that suffering.
Fair enough.
And is enough. Is enough that the bank will say, here is money, go build a house. Is enough. I might want a little more, but at the same time, that whole I need to be number one in everything, that's not me.
Fair enough.
But I can tell you that's my father. But the reality is my father was employed. He was on his up. He started at the equivalent of Massey. Well, it's actually Massey now, to be fair, because Massey bought them over. He started as a bag boy in Massey, and then he got this job and he got this promotion, and then he went on this training, and then he went and he did his postgraduate diploma, and then he got a good job with the government. And then the government changed, and because of his political affiliation, us and them, you know how that works.
Yeah.
And then my mother, who had been a homemaker, a housewife, had to get a job at a hotel, because that's easy. You don't need a lot of training. You just need your secondary school certificate or whatever, and you get the little job, and it pays enough. Now, mind you, at this time, he had already paid for a house, fully paid off, no mortgage. So it's just enough. You just need enough money to live. But those years, like, my father became a different person. And this happened when I was 7. So from the age of 7 to when I was 17, my father was doing whatever he could get.
Right.
And my mother was pretty much keeping the lights on.
Correct.
Now, yes, my father started on his trajectory, but it went wrong. And it makes me wonder, like, how does the average person who is saying, I need the trajectory, how are they going to respond when something like that happens? Like, is that going to defeat?
I think you're thinking about things that, okay, so I can understand where you're coming from in terms of your thought process. Because it happens to everybody. COVID happened and people's jobs changed, things got closed, industries got closed, and people had to shift around. The value here is always in the work, and the value is in, again, the trajectory on what you want to do. If you decide, if things happen, jobs close, what are you going to do? Are you going to stick around and just sit home and mope? You could do that for a while, but then what? And that's what I would want in a relationship, because that's also how I think. So if something was happening tomorrow, which is kind of what happened to me with COVID and my job, what am I going to do next? How am I going to make money? How am I going to support myself? So it's not necessarily that my man needs to be an engineer for the rest of his life, or I'm going to leave him. There are some women who think like that, though. It is what it is. But there are also people who, again, relationships are like that. Sometimes you make more money than him and you have to do things, and he makes more money than you and he could do things, and you just kind of work and build something. Once you have somebody that you're serious with and you're committed to, then you're committed to that person and you're committed to building a life with them. So regardless of how perfect it is one time, it might be perfect with you, but it might be great with him. You kind of help each other out to build something.
I feel like
that's kind of what your parents did, essentially.
I think of someone who is compassionate, loving, caring.
He has to be somebody who's attentive and caring.
someone compassionate, someone caring.
Has a great relationship with God.
God fearing.
Like, it's always about the hustle. It's always about multiple streams of income.
Is a provider.
He must provide and protects.
And honestly, just someone honest and, that communicates in a healthy manner. Because, there's poor communication, and I am not about that. So I think that those are the most important things for me in terms of, like, what do I want in a man?
I would say that most of the guys that I know have some sort of goal to be able to provide, to be willing to. I don't meet unkind men generally, so I do meet people who are caring. I have friends, who are caring people. What else was there? Godly. The godly thing is based on it. I have friends who are Christians, friends who are more into spirituality, friends who are not really into that sort of thing. So the list that the women gave, I don't think it's that hard to find. The list itself is great, but again, it's the list, but then there's also the connection between the two individuals. So it's not that all those things are necessarily hard to find, but do you find that in an individual that you'll have a connection and shared hobbies and all these things? That's where it gets a little bit more complicated for me. Because most people I know have jobs and yeah.
Okay. For me, well, I didn't go through the voice note, but I always try to tell my female friends that listen, a man on a mission is a very dangerous man, and a man on his mission, a man on his path, a very focused man is a very dangerous man, and you may not be allotted half of the things that you desire in terms of quality time, in terms of a lot of stuff, because for him, his goals and aspirations are what takes the forefront. And most of the times you meet the man like that. You meet the man, he's trying to finish school, he's trying to, and everybody have, different motivations. Some people, they just want to make money. Some people, they're trying to escape poverty, whatever. They're trying to do something, but from the list, they want a man who's caring. He must be able to provide, show a willingness to provide, do this, do that, do all these kind of things. As Ghyanne was saying, the list isn't hard to fulfill. There are men who, praying like who check all the boxes. I think what women need to realize is that you have to be careful what you're asking for, because you may ask for these things, and in a utopia, it sounds nice, I have a man who's a praying man, I have a man who this, I have a man who whatever, but your man waking up 4 o'clock in the morning to go into the oil field, you don't even get up and cook. I just using that as an example. That's frustration. Like, you don't have time to do a lot of things right through. You don't have time to, you understand? He is interested in, listen, this job needs to be done, or school needs to be done, or whatever, because at the end of the day, I need to provide for my family. And his mind is wired like that. And people might think like there's no love, but the thing about it is that the feeling of love is just an appendage to love. People love people love in many different ways. So you may want the affection and the quality time, but the way this man loves is he works hard. Like, I am somebody like that. I am somebody who I'm not really big on quality time and stuff like that. But the way how I love is provision. Like, I like to make sure my partner
So access service then.
Yeah, access. Yeah, that is my thing. And I don't think a lot of women, when they create these lists, they take certain things into consideration. Like me creating a list and saying, I want a career woman, but she must be able to cook, she must be able to do this, blah 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 blah. And the truth is, the chance I may get it, but is it going to be like that for the rest of my life? No. At some point in time, I got to take over the domestic duties. I got to do this. I got it. Because service is what makes a relationship last long. Not these lists, not these check boxes. As Gershwin was saying before, when you now start to talk to somebody, you're not talking to them, you're talking to the representative. And even when it started date and stuff like that, you are actually dating the representative of people until something comes up to challenge every piece of tea-fed that you talk about, every piece of tea-fed, every talk, every sweet nothing, every wherever, all these talk about commitment and here we did. when trials come, that is when you get to understand the level of someone's commitment. So that's why I don't really like this listing, because you can have this list done and the man he just learn you and that way that you expect.
But the thing about a list is, I think people, okay, so there's a list and then there's a list. You could be obsessed with the list, or you could use the list as a marker. Because a lot of times too, people lose their way in a sense of, okay, you might have certain values, certain things that you deem as very essential. If you don't have that pinned down, not necessarily written on a list, you could get carried away by meeting someone. And then years down the line or during the relationship, you realize, wait, me and this person don't feel the same way about children. We don't feel the same way about God. We don't feel the same way about animals. We don't feel the same way about charity. And these things come up, and we don't feel the same way about finances. So if you talk to somebody and they're mature, they're going to tell you, well, yes, I do want to have a man who's tall, this and that, but there's also an understanding that you might not get the tall, rich, this man, but you might get somebody that you could work with and somebody that you enjoy based on the connection. But the list is just a guide, because without that, I could tell you, for me, I have things that I would have liked in somebody that I knew was important to me, but in the moment, I was young, it was nice, it was new, it was exciting, and I kind of got carried away. And then the arguments we had were things about what I eat, what are we going to feed our children, because he was probably vegan and I used to eat meat. And these simple things that you might think are stupid, but they do come up eventually. In that things that I should have written a list about and said, well, okay, well, if I date a vegan, he needs to be okay with me eating meat. So simple things like that is what I mean.
But that list, that's like a qualitative list. So for example, you are Christian, you will probably butt heads with somebody who is an atheist or from a different religious group and so on. You are meat eater, I assume.
Yes.
And you would look at the person going with the placard saying eating meat is murder, and you'll be like, So of course.
I've been with one of those people before.
Why?
Yeah. Because for me, the thing about it is this: I am not hard and fast on meat either. I'm not a hard and fast. I do eat meat, but for certain things, again, for one person, not eating meat might be something very deeply rooted in them. And then for me, it might just be, I feel to eat fish this month and I just eat fish, or I don't eat any meat this month and then I eat chicken the next month. So me and them will butt heads.
What I'm saying, but these are extremes, right?
Yes.
So like a normal person will be like, I ain't feeling for this chicken, I know. I'll go eat fish for a little while. But veganism is like a religion. You know, it's the meat is murder, and you know we're supposed to be fruitarian, and we're supposed to eat fruits and vegetables and this and that. I really don't like vegans.
I have been with one, yes. That's what happens.
I really don't like vegans, because everything they are saying is a direct opposition of reality. So the reality is human beings eat meat and can assimilate meat, full stop.
You have strong opinion, don't you?
I listen.
We use the word hate a lot too. Right?
This is a bridge. This is a bridge I'm dying on. Veganism is wrong. Quote unquote. Bye bye. Anyway.